Welcome to Manna for the Soul podcast. So glad that you joined us as we have opportunity to feed our souls with God's Word. It's my goal each time with these podcasts to encourage you in your walk with God and Christ. I read a story not long ago that kind of goes like this. There was a family riding in their family car, and an advertisement for a current movie comes on the radio. At the end of the advertisement comes the disclaimer. Opens Friday in a theater near you. This film contains intense material, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual situations, drug content, and coarse language. May not be appropriate for children under 13. At the end of the disclaimer, the family's young son, sitting in the back seat, asks, "Mommy, who would the movie be appropriate for?" That comment reminds me of Matthew chapter 18 and verse number 3. Truly I say to you, unless we turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Have you ever heard of the phrase trash in, trash out? What do I mean when I say trash in, trash out? Well, what I mean is instead of feeding our lives with holy and honorable things, we fill our lives with things of this world. Trash in, so then trash out. When I was growing up, I remember we sang a song in Bible class as a very young child that had verses like, "Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little mouth, what you say. Oh, be careful, little hands, what you do." Do you remember that song? Man, that was a wonderful song with a great message. As adults, we don't sing this song unless we're singing it to our children, but does the message still ring true for you and me? Did somehow these principles of this song change at some magical age? It's still true that the Father is up above, and He's still looking down in love. So what happened? What happened from the little child to as we become adults? I believe we become so desensitized to the things of this world that the things that we see, the things that we say, they don't really matter anymore. I hope that you realize today that we cannot fill ourselves with garbage, the trash of this world, and then expect to come together to worship. And as we worship, that we expect to be able to give God from our garbage ridden soul, because that's what we've been feeding it, something that is sweet and pure. It doesn't work like that. It can't work like that. In fact, Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 tells us, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable, perfect will of God." As God calls out His people to be set apart, to be different, He tells us that we have to have a transformed mind, a transformed way of doing things. But how do we do this? How do we have a transformed mind? Well, Philippians chapter 4, verse number 8 gives us some insight when he says, "Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there's any virtue, if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate or think on these things." My challenge to myself and to you today is that we be careful and to guard our hearts so that we give back to God something that is pure. I'll leave you with this passage. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. Keep your heart with all vigilance. From it flows the spring of life. If there's anything that we can help you with, we ask that you would contact us at the North Brandon Church of Christ in Brandon, Mississippi. Check out our Facebook. Check out our YouTube page. We live stream each of our services. Until next time, you have a blessed day.